All right, so some S-mount offensive concepts. So I'm in side control, and if you see, Oz has a pretty solid defense. His elbow is inside of his hip here. He's controlling his lapel, his hand's inside. So it's going to be hard for me to get some kind of knee on belly, knee through, mount attack here. I'm going to have to move when he starts beating this. We're going to face the legs because we're going to mount low. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come up, control the hip. Switch my feet, so I'm facing the legs here, and I'm going to control the inside of my thigh here. If your legs or arms aren't long enough to grab the inside of your thigh, you can grab your pants, grab here, or just grab or put your palm flat on the mat. The key though is just controlling this outside hip here, keeping the elbow tight. I like to grab my thigh here. Also, notice whenever I switch, I'm going to keep your right hand up so that you don't get knocked in the orbital by his knee. He may switch his knees, crack, break your orbital here. So be careful, use your hands here. If this is self-defense or MMA, he'd be putting his hand on the back of my head, trying to knock me out here. So I keep my hand here just to block. No gi or gi, just on accidents, people do that. He's doing a correct defense. He's hiding his foot, keeping it on his leg, but I'm not too concerned about the foot lock. I'm going to mount him. So I'm facing the legs. I'm going to come over the top of his ankle here, push down and catch. At this point, I'm going to grab the outside of his leg, push in, base, bringing my hook through. At this point, he may grab the top of my head. Don't freak out. Pivot, put your knees on the mat, arc your back up like a cat to get your arm out. He'll probably defend like that because he doesn't want to get his arms taken. At this point, I'm putting my elbows on his shoulders, and we're going to grab the top of his head just like this. Bring my heels to my butt. Heavy chest, skydive if you will. So here we go. At this point, we're going to start looking to a high mount. We're going to jump up to S mount and see what kind of opportunities they create for us. So I'm going to bring my hand under his neck, palm down so I get a good cross face on my shoulder. I'm going to tweak my body just a little bit here. It creates a nice little gap for me to bring my blade through under his hook here. So I'm going to fish for an underhook here. Now, some people are very strong, and I can't just Addams Family my hand, walk it over. So I'm going to use my core, use my lats, use my strength, use my muscles. So look, I'm going to come back, and the harder I cross face him, the more he wants to look the other direction, right? So the harder I cross face him, whenever I let it go, it makes that arm easy to pop up here. So it's hard, I can't walk, cross face a little harder. As I release, bam. My right hand goes under my left hand. There's a reason for that here in a second. At this point, I'm going to do a push-up, keeping my elbows very tight to each other. I don't want to lose this arm. We're working on this arm. I'm going to shoot straight up, my knee above his head, about 1/2 inch. Make sure this knee is above his head. It makes the next part easy. Now, my left hand was over my right hand for a reason, so I can just flip it up, grab the back of his head. I'm going to sink to one side. Bring my leg, swivel it around under his armpit, and readjust, keeping my knee next to his shoulder. At this point, I'm going to switch my grip. Grabbing my shin here, putting my hand by the hip, just like this. I'm going to do one more slight readjustment, sinking my body weight to the left. Don't forget this. Here. To make it painful for him, I can straighten my right arm out. Cross faces him a little bit. Sucks, doesn't it, Oz? Yeah. The key is don't let him have shoulders on the mat. Helps him escape. If any time you start feeling like you're losing it, lift him up, put your knee behind his back again, re-grip. Now at this point we can do quite a few things. You know, walk around where you can see. Quite a few things. The harder my pressure is on him, every time he takes a breath and exhales, I squeeze a little harder. Hard for him to breathe. So now there's a few different things we can go for. Because his left arm is over his right arm here, I may just do a simple Americana. Bring my arm in, push over, push it down. Finish. If I need a nice tight finish here, I can rotate the wrist, grab my own wrist, and then finish here. He'll defend a few different ways. He'll either bring his left arm over the top of this arm, or he'll bring it under this way. If he brings it under, I'm going to go back to my simple arm lock that we talked about. It's just grabbing here, grabbing my lapel, scalping his hair, hooking, and then we can finish belly down, or I can sink to one side. I prefer to finish mounted. Or if I go for this Americana and he goes on the other side of my arm, I can use my elbow to scrape. And then catching it this way, bring my wrist through, we can do a simple arm lock here. He's defending, we're here. If he's keeping his hands just like this, I can just go for my simple arm lock. Keep your hands close to your face. Scraping, look, my blade is 45 degrees. I go down his face just like this. I'm going to hook his wrist. Don't hook his elbow here because he's strong here, powerful. He's at leverage. I'm going to just hook his wrist, grab my lapel, fall to one side, makes this light. Notice my body weight goes to this knee. Makes it light to bring the leg around. Here. Some other things we can do is I can take my thumb behind his lapel, do a simple collar choke here. Coming around, I'm going to scrape his fingers off of his face here. Ice cream, scoop his neck down, bringing his elbow here. If I get to this position, see his left hand, he wants to defend, he wants to relieve the pressure. The harder he tries to push this arm off, the easier it'll be to bring this leg back around and catch this arm lock again. One more thing we can do. Say I go for the simple arm lock, and he holds it like this, trying to put his hand on your bicep and defend. I'm going to grip his elbow just like this, base on my hand, and we're going to catch this far side arm bar by spinning, knee in his face, coming in. If I need to, I'll turn his face here, sink up, and then finish. I do arm lock on the side of my hips here. I don't wear a cup on the street. If you have to arm lock, we don't go straight down, we go over. So, one more thing. Say I switch, grip my thigh, blocking my face. I hold, push down, catch. Push on the outside of the thigh, bring my hook over. He hooks my head, arc your back up like a cat, come over. Here, flatten out. Now let's say we do this. I bring my left hand under his head, cross face, get my underhook, core, left over right, do my push up, bring my knee up. Say whenever I bring my hand up to his head and I pivot around, my leg goes over his arm here. Everybody see? I went over his elbow instead of under. No worries, don't ditch the position. Switch your grip anyways. At this point, we notice, oh, his elbow's out. Okay, we're just going to triangle. Now I can go for the simple arm lock again. But let's triangle. And when I do my mounted triangles, never fall back to your back. Keep mounted. So, I grab his head, pivot around. Get all the way on your knee. The only thing on the ground is my knee and my head. Curl up. My right foot, when it hooks, I hook and smiley face this way. Here. Turning my core this direction, torquing his head here. There's the finish. If you really want to be a meanie, you can take the arm as well. One more concept. Sorry, Oz. Last one. Say we're mounted, I got the grapevines, and I cross face. We're about to set it up, I see his gi's untied. Look, I'm going to take the bottom of the gi. I'm going to fish using it with my underhook here. Do my same setup. Readjust. Notice I keep the gi in my hand. Don't let it go. At this point, I'm going to choke. I'm going to just loop around. Finish here. It could still help me set up the other arm locks if I want to. Come over, catch. If he defends, push back. We got this one. We have some other fist to throat arm bars as well. Any questions? Cool.